This is a significant development coming out of Bauchi State, and it's the kind of story that needs to be told properly, not just as a press release, but as a narrative that captures the tension, the relief, and the reality on the ground. For the people of Mansur Village, tucked away in the Alkaleri Local Government Area of Bauchi State, that fear became their reality. For weeks, maybe months, the shadows in the forests grew longer, and the strangers passing through became more brazen. They weren't just passing through anymore, they were trying to stay. But early this week, the wind in that part of Bauchi changed. It changed with the rumble of military vehicles and the steady advance of troops who were not there to pass through, but to take back the land. In an operation that feels like something from a gripping novel, but is very real and very dangerous, the soldiers of the 3-Division Nigerian Army moved in. This wasn't a random patrol. This was Operation BUGUN KARKANDA III, a mission with a simple but powerful mandate: to dominate the corridors used by these insurgents and silence their guns for good.
Let me set the scene for you. Imagine Mansur Village just days ago. It wasn't a village with a heartbeat anymore. It was a ghost of itself. The markets were empty, the cooking fires were cold. Armed terrorists, reportedly linked to a wider network of criminals, had attempted to seize control. They wanted to turn this community into a fortress, a base from which they could launch attacks, spread fear, and control the local population. You can almost picture the families huddled in the bush, listening to the silence, wondering if their homes would still be standing if they ever got the chance to return. Then, the military sprang into action. This wasn't a haphazard shooting spree. According to military sources, led by the general officer commanding, Major General Folusho Oyinlola, the troops executed a coordinated offensive. Think of it like a chess game, but with bullets. They identified the flashpoints, the spots where the terrorists had dug in, and advanced deliberately. One can only imagine the tension in those moments. The soldiers, moving through familiar terrain made unfamiliar by the presence of hidden enemies. The terrorists, probably caught off guard by the speed and precision of the assault. When the dust settled, the Nigerian flag was still flying. The terrorists were dislodged, forced to flee into the very forests they had emerged from, abandoning their position. And in their hurried retreat, they left behind a crucial piece of their power. An AK-47 rifle was recovered by the troops. To us, it might be just a weapon, but to a community, that single rifle represents dozens of potential tragedies avoided. It degrades the ability of these criminal gangs to wage war on innocent people. It's in moments like this that we have to appreciate the work of our security forces. If you believe their efforts deserve more recognition, show some love in the comments and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss updates on this operation.
Now, here is the part of the story that gives me goosebumps. After the offensive, the soldiers didn't just pack up and leave. They stayed. They consolidated their positions and immediately launched patrols across Alkaleri Local Government Area. This is the most critical part of any operation like this. You can win a battle, but you have to win the peace. And the people, they are beginning to trickle back. The report that residents have reportedly begun resuming socio-economic activities is military speak for something much more beautiful. It means a farmer is walking back to his farm, checking if his crops survived. It means a mother is sweeping the dust from her hut, preparing to cook for her family in her own kitchen for the first time in weeks. It means the high-pitched laughter of children is slowly replacing the eerie silence that once gripped Mansur Village. But we must also ask ourselves the hard questions. Who were these people who wanted to take over their village? Where did they come from? This is where the story gets even deeper and, frankly, more worrying. Military intelligence has painted a picture of a complex web. These aren't just local boys who went bad. They are described as cross-border terrorist gangs who move like ghosts across 3 states, Plateau, Bauchi, and Taraba. They know the terrain better than anyone. They exploit the forests, the Wase and Kanam forests, and axes like Jejin Madam to slip through the cracks.
This is a strategy of fluid movement. They strike in one state, then melt back into the forests of another, making it incredibly difficult for security forces to pin them down. This is why operations like BUGUN KARKANDA III are so vital. It's about closing that noose, cutting off their supply lines, and denying them the freedom to move. Think about the names that intelligence operatives are tracking: Mallam Lehi, Mai-Kunkuru, and Mallam Azuge. These are not just names, they are high-value targets, commanders who orchestrate the terror that makes life unbearable for people in these rural communities. As long as they are out there, the threat is not over. Major General Oyinlola knows this, which is why he has urged his troops to maintain vigilance. He understands that the protection of civilians is the ultimate goal. How do you catch an enemy that refuses to stay in one place? How do you protect communities that are spread across such vast, unforgiving terrain? It requires not just military might, but intelligence, cooperation from locals, and a resolve that never wavers. This incident in Mansur Village is not an isolated event. It is a symptom of a larger, more troubling security challenge facing the northeast and north-central regions. The connection between the states is too strong to ignore. We've seen reports of how attacks in Plateau are often linked to bandit cells operating from Bauchi and Taraba. It's a cycle of violence that feeds on itself, exploiting ungoverned spaces and local grievances. For the people of Alkaleri, the liberation of their village is a victory, but it's a fragile one. The real test begins now. Can the military maintain the pressure? Can the government provide the support needed to help these families rebuild their lives? And crucially, can the intelligence community finally track down the kingpins like Mallam Lehi and his gang?
The community reaction has been one of quiet relief, but you can bet there is still anxiety in the air. Every strange sound at night might be the return of the gunmen. Every unfamiliar face might be a scout. It will take time for the wounds to heal. So, what is the lesson in all of this for us? It's about awareness and cooperation. The security forces are doing their part, putting their lives on the line in places like Mansur Village, but they cannot be everywhere at once. This is where you come in. Before you go, I want you to do 3 things. First, like this video to honor the resilience of the people of Mansur. Second, subscribe to the channel so you stay informed about the security situations affecting our nation. And third, share this story. Let's keep the conversation going. The liberation of Mansur Village is a beacon of hope. It shows that with courage and coordination, peace can be restored. But the fight is far from over. As the residents return to their homes and the soldiers continue their patrols, we must all play our part in supporting the efforts to ensure that the shadows never again descend on Alkaleri.